Trump is creating issues for new home builders with his tariffs. We're going to talk about how. So I got this article pulled up from Realtor.com. It says Trump's tariffs create uncertainty for home builders who project little growth in new construction in 2025. So this year we're not going to see. They're thinking that we're not going to see a ton of new construction in 2025. I'm going to read a little bit of this and then we're going to break it down. So uncertainty over President Trump's tariff agenda could weigh on new home construction this year, says top trade exec representing the nation's home builders. The National Association of Home Builders forecasts single family starts to grow just 0.2% this year to an annual rate of 1.01 million units, and a rise an additional 4% in 2026 to 1.05 million pace. This would mark an anemic pace of growth, meaning the growth is not going to be there because people are going to be feeling like they're hindered because of what the tariffs and things like that are coming into place. Let's read on. So it is likely not enough to adequately address the nation's housing shortage. So this growth that's supposed to be happening is not going to be adequate to help out the economy or the housing shortage that we're facing right now. Everybody knows that we're in a housing shortage right now, but this is not these tariffs and things like that are coming in are not super helpful to the cause that America's in a housing shortage right now. Freddie Mac recently estimated at a shortfall of 3.7 million units. So we're down 3.7 million units of new homes that we are in need of. Home builders say they are encouraged by Trump's push to cut regulations and extend tax cuts. However, they do fear new tariffs on building materials could raise the cost of building new homes. So when the home builders are feeling like the tariffs are going to raise the cost of building homes, you're going to see less homes being built. And that's something that this article is basically saying that we can expect new homes actually being slowed down and further shortening that supply of houses that America is already in. Let's keep reading. So earlier this month, Trump announced and then quickly suspended massive new tariffs on Canada and Mexico, the respective sources of the most dimensional lumber and drywall gypsum used in residential construction. So Canada and Mexico are hugely vital to new construction in America. And if tariffs are actually, I believe I saw a video that the order is going to go into place Tuesday. And correct me if I'm wrong on that, but definitely have to double check that. But it says he suspended them. But like I said, I just recently saw that it looks like they're going to go ahead and implement those tariffs. Now, we rely on Canada and Mexico, especially in like from a labor perspective for Mexico, when it comes to residential construction. So having those tariffs in place could definitely hinder some growth there. So let's keep looking at this article. It says the NAHB projects single-family housing starts. That's the National Homebuilders Association, a National Association of Home Builders. Single-family housing starts will remain roughly flat in 2025 and grow 4% in 2026. Residential construction has still not recovered to levels seen before the Great Recession, contributed to a major housing shortage. So during the Great Recession, what happened is we saw a huge drop-off in new home builds, and because it was such a hard time, nobody was building anything, even in terms of selling houses. We know the Great Recession of 2008, what happened during that time. Now, when that happened, let's go look at this chart right here. This is where it was before new home builds, 1.7 million in 2004. And then around this time when things started to go crazy in the housing market, 2006, 2008, it took a huge dip all the way down to 442,000 units. And then it never really recovered. If you see, it's like a bump here, another dip back down here in 2012. Then it took a little rise and kept rising. Then obviously COVID, boom. But even though COVID didn't really stop it that much, it went back up to 1.1 million. Then it took another deep dive, probably actually around this COVID-ish area, around this time. Once COVID hit, another dive, and then it still hasn't recovered. Now they are expecting it to go. This is the NHB projections. They are expecting it to go up in 2026, but we'll see. A new 10% tariff on Chinese goods did not take effect on February 1st. Trump has also announced plans for reciprocal tariffs on nations that tax U.S. exports and hinted at expanding tariffs to additional sectors and countries, leaving the final impact of his policies on construction materials costs unclear. The uncertain policy environment in terms of a better regulatory climate and impending tariffs offers both upside and downside risk in the near term. They're looking at it from both ways, and it could be a good thing. It also could be a bad thing. It's just basically what's happening right now. It's just super uncertain. Trump has argued that his plan for mass deportations will lower housing costs by reducing demands for homes. I'm not a super political person, but I will say this, in terms of him, what he's saying, he believes that if we get the mass deportations, remove people who are illegally here, it'll open up more housing for the shortage that we're actually in. But the only thing about that is that a lot of people who are immigrants and illegal immigrants are usually working on the houses because that's how they get employment, and that's how they actually make gainful money. So home builders and remodelers are dealing with positive and negative risks in the months ahead. With shelter inflation still rising at 4.4% annual clip and a housing shortage of roughly 1.5 million units, the best way to bend the rising housing cost curve is for the Trump administration and Congress to enact policies that would allow builders to construct more attainable, affordable housing. I definitely think that this is true. We definitely need more affordable housing. We could do the deportation and have, people who aren't, shouldn't be in houses right now outside of the country. But at the same time, houses are still expensive, and housing prices are still rising in a lot of the bigger metropolitan areas. And if we don't get a hold on that as well, more affordable housing is the biggest piece. So making sure that we have the proper the zoning laws and the restrictions and things like that are given a little slack for builders to actually make things like this, to build more houses, build more apartments and that sort of thing. They're doing a lot of building here in Austin, Texas. But I know a lot of times when it comes to new builds and things like that, zoning laws can be just as much of a headache as, building cost. So initiating policies like this article is saying, enacting policies for builders to construct more is going to be huge as well. I'm just going to keep reading. Speaking at the NAHB's International Builders Show, Realtor.com chief economist Daniel Hale highlighted how the housing market is gradually shifted to a more neutral stance. With the seller's market defined as less than a 4-month supply of homes on the market has slowly edged out of seller's territory, rising to a 4.1 month level this year from a 2.3 month supply in 2021. Inventory is recovering faster than sales, and this is leading to a more balanced market. That's something that I was noticing as well. Like, things are kind of leveling out. It's really anybody's game. It's not necessarily a buyer's or a seller's market. It's more so just, it looks like things are pretty much leveling out. Inventory growth is being fueled by new listed homes, which are up 10.8% year over year in January 2025. So it's a good thing. Only thing about it is the inventory is actually sitting for, I did a video that inventory is actually sitting for longer than, 2 months, or more than 52 days, I believe, or something like that, if I'm remembering correctly. You can go watch that video. For several years, the supply of new homes has vastly outpaced that of existing homes on a month supply basis. Many homeowners with ultra-low mortgage rates have been reluctant to sell in a higher rate environment. This is the real issue. The fact that a lot of homeowners just are not interested in selling, because it's like, why would I take a 7% interest rate, when I have this 2% interest rate, that, you know, I'm fine. I don't need to sell. I don't have to sell. You know, typically in life-changing events, you'll see a lot of people sell, but otherwise, if it's just for kicks, you know, it doesn't really make sense for sellers right now. New home sales are expected to outperform again, but competition will be growing from existing sellers. As time goes on, the impact of higher mortgage rates on supply will likely weaken, which is good, as life and career changes push more homeowners to sell. Again, though, like I said, unless it's a life-changing or a situation, you'll see a lot less selling. Even if they take on a new higher mortgage rate when they buy a different home. Hale noted that currently 83% of outstanding mortgages have a sub 6% rate, and the 55% are below 4%. So that's actually a good amount of people, that 55% below 4%. If you get below 4%, that's pretty great. And by the end of 2025, she said 75% of outstanding mortgages are projected to be below 6%, which is where people, it's not the most beautiful mortgage rate, but you really want to be below 4%. Those are the great mortgage rates. The mortgage rate lock-in effect is gradually fading, but affordability remains a challenge for home buyers. So what I'm seeing here, basically the biggest issue really is affordability versus, you know, us not having enough. Now we are, as the article was saying, Freddie Mac was saying that we're short 3.7 million units. We do need to build more. And I look around and I'm just like, I see the data here, basically, you know, where we were at a period of time, we still have not gotten back to, and this is 2004. It's been 21 years, 21 years. Wow. And we still have not recovered to where we need to be. So we're behind heavily, on where we should be in building. And you can see it, and you can feel the impact of it when housing prices do go up and there's not enough to go around. So let me know your thoughts on that. If you're a builder, if you're an investor, a new home builder, whatever the case may be, I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of this and how everything is shaking out. But also, like and subscribe. If you want to go check out another video, you'll see it probably right here. Peace.